Hello and welcome to SimUK. Today I must thank TML-Studios for allowing us early access in order to review the newest DLC for Fernbus Coach Simulator. Hello and welcome to SimUK. Today I can thank TML-Studios for allowing us early access to review, for you, the newest DLC for Fernbus Coach Simulator. I will be making two reviews for this DLC, one depicting everything that I believe is right with the DLC, and this one where I depict everything that I believe is wrong with the DLC. The price for this DLC is currently unknown, but it is speculated to release at the end of August 2018. Please note that this is currently in closed beta, and as such, everything you see here is subject to change. This DLC introduces features which many felt should have been present at release, but it also provides us with a comparative insight into the upcoming titles Fuerteventura and The Bus, both of which are expected to be released by TML later this year or early in 2019. The success or failure of this DLC could have a significant impact on the future of Fernbus and even TML-Studios. So this DLC doesn't include company ownership, but it does include finances and coach maintenance. But have TML done enough? Once the DLC has been downloaded and installed, you will see a new option within the main menu called Bundesliga Dlc. Clicking on this will load the options to start a new game. Now, although it appears that you can pick the name of your company, it is actually just a profile, a save game name, of which there can only currently be one. Now this is something that I think should and could be easily fixed by TML. Having multiple profiles would definitely benefit this DLC. No company ever actually exists. There is no bank, there are no fleets, there are no employees. There is no budget that relates directly to you or is under your control. And despite there already being loads of coach depots strewn all about the place, you cannot purchase them and you cannot lower your maintenance costs as a result. Maybe this is an area for development in the main game in the future. The reality is then that you're actually an employee of the football team that you choose. Sure, you're responsible for coach maintenance, stocking up on snacks and budgeting for fuel. You even get to pick the bus's skin at the start, but that is about it. And currently you cannot even change the skin mid-season, or at least I couldn't figure out how to do it. Also, these newly created coaches with newly created skins have only 2 camera views, at the moment at least, so you can only see from the driver and the external camera. Essentially, this DLC will put you in the position as driver and nothing else. Failure to stay on budget will result in a cash injection from the club's manager, a strongly worded email, and eventually, after 3 warnings, the sack. Getting the sack will, within the confines of your profile, revoke your ability to select that team again, but only for 12 months. Thereafter, you are free to pick the same team again. Or you can simply start a new profile and start again with whichever team you like. One of the things included as part of this DLC is scheduling. Now this area could definitely benefit from a redesign. Despite not being needed on home games, you cannot schedule to do anything, not even maintenance, on this day. This is the perfect opportunity, totally wasted. You can, however, watch the game, if you choose to, or skip it, if you don't, but you cannot do anything on this day. That being said, you can just take yourself off and go and do some jobs. You can go and buy some shopping if you wish, but you cannot schedule. I wish that you could see match day details just by hovering over it. I think the fact that you need to click on it and open another window is an unnecessary process. It's a small change, I'd like to see it happen. Also, you'll notice that there is no start times for match days. What time are you meant to be there, and what happens if you turn up late? I do love how sometimes the team will fly or take the train to get to matches, thereby requiring you to travel the day before and stay in a hotel overnight. This is a fantastic feature. Then you need to wake up in the morning, pick the team up from the station and take them to the nearest opponent's stadium for the match. This is just brilliant. It even asks you what time you want to wake up. It's amazing, but it makes no difference because none of the games actually have start times, at least at the moment they don't. This really does need to change, and it might do before release. I really hope it does. So theoretically then, you can never be late. I haven't fully tested this yet, but based on what I've seen, I would expect that maybe midnight is the failure time, but I don't know for sure. Okay then, so it's not a business that you run, you are in fact an employee. Alright, I can get down with that. So why then is there no career progression? Why is it you get to pick any team that you want? Why isn't there a progression system in place? Why don't you have to start with a small club and work your way up to the top teams through hard work and professionalism? Actually, for me, this is one of the biggest problems of all. There seems to be no benefit or recrimination for your performance in any way, with the exception, of course, of getting sacked. Out of interest, I wonder what happens if you get sacked by all of the teams. What happens then? Seriously though, there are a few things which do matter to the team. Multiple collisions and even rolling the coach a couple of times on the way to or from a match, no problem, just so long as it's clean and presentable. Get multiple speeding fines, jump red lights or drive on the wrong side of the road? You'll find the team actually love your driving style and it's all perfectly acceptable. Basically, all you have to do is make sure that the coach is clean, get to and from your destination eventually, that doesn't matter if it includes speeding, jumping red lights, rolling the coach or collisions, all of this is fine, it's perfectly okay. Just make sure that you have enough beer and snacks available on the coach. Stay on budget and everything else is perfectly acceptable, no questions asked. Damaging your vehicle currently makes no difference to anything at all. Doesn't change the handling, the braking, the acceleration, they're all the same. I do have it on good authority that this will be fixed for release via a patch which is due very soon, but as I haven't seen it, I can't really comment on it. Externally, there is no visible damage. Now, I understand that there might be limitations here and restrictions enforced upon TML, but there has to be something, surely. I even deliberately rolled the coach 3 times, yet none of the suspension was damaged or the wheels or anything. I hope this is something that's addressed, and I hope it's ready for release day for you. The only thing that made any difference to anything at all was when I ran out of fuel. I had to pay for somebody to bring me enough fuel to get me to the next gas station. I went on this absolutely epic 1,000 kilometer journey. That's 1,000 kilometers there and another 1,000 kilometers back. It was a great night with my new settings, and I've got a video coming out for that soon. All of this would be fine if there was some kind of satisfaction meter included, a level of professionalism indicator which limited the clubs that you could work for perhaps. You know, like a career with progression, with a meaning, some sort of reason for doing things properly. I mean, if you're not getting fined or sacked or recriminated in any way for speeding, jumping red lights, driving on the wrong side of the road, rolling the bus, I mean, sure, you've got to pay for the repairs, but at the moment, the whole bus is broken, but it still drives fine, then what's the point? There needs to be something, some kind of reason for doing things properly. Also, I have a bit of a concern around putting this behind a football theme. Now, I admit I was probably responsible for getting the ball rolling on this back when I created that first Bayern Munich football skin repaint, but not everyone is into football. Secondly, why is this only available as a DLC? Business management, although this isn't really business management, should be part of the main game. But to be honest, it does need to be fleshed out a hell of a lot more before that can actually happen, and maybe through the release of Fuerteventura we will see what the fully fleshed out management system will look like, and then maybe, if we're lucky, that could be ported over back into Fernbus. There's a lot of hopefullys and maybes in there. Thirdly, what happens at the end of a season? It's not progressive, budgets don't change depending on where each team finished in the league, and I'm not even entirely sure whether Bayern Munich is technically a better team than Kaiserslautern. Are they going to finish top of the table every season? And if they don't, what happens to the budget next season? Relegation? That's not a thing. It's basically the same season over and over again. And think about it. If you're driving them to the match and you roll the coach, surely that's got to affect their performance. But it doesn't seem to. It seems to make no difference whatsoever. Turning up late for the game, is that going to affect their concentration? These things really need to be in this DLC to make it be something. It's not enough as it is. It needs more meat on these bones. Sure, the wireframe bones are fantastic, but there's nothing to chew on at the moment. Honestly, I think the football theme is a great idea, but at the same time it's kind of a terrible choice because not enough time or forethought seems to have been put into this. I think it's being released too early. It needs a lot more fleshing out. TML-Studios are unique in the fact that they have currently 3 games all with the same or very similar underlying code. So with the upcoming releases, maybe we'll see a fully fleshed functioning business model finally make its way to Fernbus. That being said, all of the stadiums for each team have been faithfully recreated and imaginatively named due to licensing restrictions. As such, the cities and the roads have also been expanded and improved to accommodate this. New buildings exist, like the coach washing stations, which, although a great inclusion, are a little bit buggy. And also, I've noticed that the brushes don't actually touch the coach properly. Cleaning is also binary, it's either clean or it isn't, it's not progressively cleaned in any way. And at the end, there is no water on the floor, as mentioned by one of our regular viewers. The chemical toilet disposal locations and even the garage repair shops, sometimes they're placed so close together that when you're trying to get into one, you accidentally reverse into the other, which would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that it automatically flips your coach round to face the opposite direction, so then you've got to start all over again. Alternatively, you could try going in through a different door to get into the garage, but despite all the doors being animated, they don't all trigger the mechanic screen, so then you have to try and maneuver yourself back out of the garage, get yourself into the only door that does work, but then there isn't anywhere near enough space for you to do that. So you just end up rubbing the coach up against the door, destroying the side of the coach even more in an attempt to get into the bloody thing and get it working, obviously causing more damage and more expense. There are a lot of these strewn all over the map, and I certainly haven't tested them all, but I bet you this isn't the only one like it. The stadiums themselves also have parking available now. Sometimes the AI also use these parking lots to drive about, so you have to be careful of them. But occasionally, one will drive up right behind you when you're parked and simply block you in. There's no way out. These bugs need to be ironed out quickly. And I don't think there's been enough time given to YouTubers like myself to bug test and find them all. So you're going to experience these in the final release. Now, another area that I think desperately needs some work is the team itself. Basically, it consists of like 3 or 4 different characters repeated over and over again. So far as I've seen, there's no coaching staff, no manager, no doctor. On the coach, they are silent. There's no banter, there's no singing if they win, there's nothing. There's no sorrow, there's no silence if they lose, they don't fall asleep if it's a late, long journey, they don't complain, they don't thank you. It's like they're not even there. And still, we are all waiting for the animation for them to get on and off the coach properly. Other games have managed it, and this was promised at release, but still it hasn't arrived. And I know some of you will be very, very disappointed by that. And I've already mentioned a few, but then there are bugs. Now, this is a closed beta testing. There are going to be bugs. That's the whole point of closed beta testing. Yeah, some of them are small and minor, like the distance to destination not matching that's on the screen here. But with the release date so close, they are never, ever going to be able to find and fix them all. There are too many miles of road, too many stations, so expect a number of bugs at release. Is that okay? You know, maybe in a new DLC you do expect some bugs for sure. Everybody expects bugs with a new bit of code that comes out, but we are also talking about existing bugs and missing content that has supposed to have been fixed since release date. Jumping red lights is still not a thing. AI behavior still has problems. It's definitely better, but still has problems. Quite often you'll find invisible collision items and road conflicts. There are texture loading problems that affect me a lot, and for some reason every time I start the game it boots into Oculus Rift if the device is connected, and even if I turn it off it still tries to connect via my Oculus Rift. Then there are performance issues. Now, I've already mentioned I have got a new best settings video coming out soon, so please keep your eyes open for that. It makes a huge difference. And I'm also going to be testing my GTX 970 now, and I have a new GTX 1080 Ti, which I will be comparing and seeing if that really makes a big difference or not. Now, those of you who know my channel know that I am a massive fan and total advocate for Fernbus Coach Simulator. I would highly recommend this game to anyone interested in coach simulation, but I also owe it to you, my community, to tell you the bad with the good. I don't pretend it's not there, I don't forget to mention it, and I certainly don't gloss over it. It is my hope that providing this critical analysis to you, you can then make an informed purchase. But I also hope that providing this critical analysis will enable TML-Studios to highlight issues and hopefully address them quickly, thereby making this game better for you, for me, and everyone who buys into the Fernbus experience in the future. I make these detailed reviews to help and benefit all gamers and developers alike. I do this for free, and if this review has helped you today, then I simply ask you to consider a one-off, once-a-year contribution for whatever you can afford. This will help support SimUK so that we can continue to make more in-depth, honest, fact-based reviews like this. We have to buy many of the games that you want to see reviews on, so by contributing as little as a cup of coffee allows us to bring you more reviews like this. Thank you so much for watching, take care of yourselves, until next time, goodbye for now. Just going to take a short break right now to say a big thank you to all of you who support SimUK. Without you, there is no SimUK. Your donations are never expected, never demanded, but always, always hugely appreciated. Thank you guys so much.